Hey everyone, Justin here with High Priority, and I'm going to take my solo stove from this to this. Alright, let's go check this out. Alright, so here we are. We're doing wood projects. Now, typically I wouldn't do a video like this. You've seen some of my other content. It's more mechanical, but summertime is coming up and I really want to do something with my solo stove. I don't know if any of you have solo stoves. I've had this one for about 2 years and I really enjoy it. I like it. But it's ugly, right? I mean, look at the thing. And it's not safe for children to be running around. You know, they get close to it and the outside of it gets really hot. So I've been kind of thinking about a way to make a surround for this, and I came up with this idea. Yeah, that's a half of a wine barrel I picked up at Home Depot. And these are some 1x6s I also picked up at the same place. I cut them down. I decided to have a top of about 40 inches with a 20-inch hole in the middle for my pit, and then that'll leave a nice 10-inch ring for your alcoholic beverages. It'll keep the kids, you know, from burning their fingers, and it'll actually just be a lot more appealing to look at on your patio. Now, my wife kind of thought this was kind of a silly idea. She said, why are you going to surround a hot fire pit with wood? That kind of seems counterintuitive. And she actually wanted to do bricks. Well, bricks aren't very movable, so I decided to do this. I can put it out and use it, and in wintertime I can put it away. So I actually went ahead and made a jig. I've already got my circles drawn out on here. I actually made a little jig out of a piece of wood and just measured it out. You just stick it on here, and then ran a pen in the hole and just run it around. I'll get a close-up of that. So we got the layout done. I'm gonna go ahead and drill some holes and tie it all together with some dowels to kind of strengthen it. And then I might run a couple stringers along the, right on the outside of it to strengthen it up a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and put it together. So let's get cutting and drilling and see what this thing turns out like. Alright, so I've got all the spots. You saw me mark all the spots out for the dowels. The dowels I'm using are 5/16. And I tried to use a 5/16 drill bit, but the dowels are really tight, so I stepped up to the next size, which is a 21/64. And so I'm just gonna tip these up. I'll get a close-up here in just a minute. We're gonna mark out where everything goes, and then you should really get yourself one of these if you're doing any work, automotive work or woodwork. It's an automatic center punch. They work pretty awesome. You just put it on your mark and push, and it pops a little tiny indentation even in hard steel, and it gives you a nice spot for your drill bit to get started. So we're just gonna blow through this and get this thing all doweled and glued together, and then we'll go ahead and cut it up. Alright, there we go. Let's go ahead and assemble it and see what it looks like and add our stringers to it. Alright, well here we have it cut out as you saw, and now it's assembled, and actually it doesn't look as terrible as I thought. I was having some doubts when I was making this, and I was like, this is going to look like but actually it looks pretty cool. So I have got it all measured out and it's sitting perfectly center. The solo stove's on the inside, so I'm gonna run these stringers on the bottom and run them tight to the barrel, so then when you put the top on, if I make it come off, then it'll center itself and sit right in there inside these two stringers. So let's go ahead and put those in, and then we'll flip it over on the table and attach those. And then I just gotta make this look kind of pretty, and then we're done. All right, so last step for tonight anyways, before we get this thing all stained up and dialed in, is screwing these stringers on. I added these little blocks on the side so it'll lock the barrel in when you set the top on. The screws I got are number 8. They're 1.25 inch long because I'm going through 3/4 and 3/4, so I don't want to blow through the other side. And I'm also using this countersink bit. It's got an adjustable collar on it, so you can set it for whatever depth you want. We're just gonna drill a bunch of pilot holes, glue these strips down, and then call it a day. Alright, so we're on the home stretch of this project finally. Last night I went ahead and got the stringers all tied in on the top, and I actually went ahead and drilled a bunch of air holes or vent holes in the bottom of the barrel here. These are 2-inch holes. I've got about 6 of them that go around the whole thing. And those holes are actually for the solo stove to be able to get some air. Now if you don't know how these work or don't own one, these are actually marketed as a low smoke or a smoke-free fire pit. And how they achieve that is there's a bunch of holes here on the bottom, and there's a bunch of holes on the top. And when you're burning your fire in there, once it gets going, it starts to draw in a bunch of air, and that air makes the fire burn much hotter. And a hot fire doesn't really smoke, so that's how they get that. And now we just have to stain the top. Now I was kind of kicking around a bunch of ideas on what to do, and I had some old stains laying around here, and I actually came up with this here. Actually looks, pretty good, I think. Matches the barrel pretty well. And I actually got that by using this, just a blowtorch, and just burn that piece of wood to some varying degrees of darkness. Kind of got into something that I liked. And then I just had a couple old cans of stain laying around. And the first one was a pretty dark one. It's a Poly Shades by Minwax. It's an espresso stain. So I went ahead and rubbed that on there. And then I also have this Bear product. It's a waterproofing stain and sealer. And that actually has a little bit of a tint to it too. And that's called Padre Brown, if it matters. And I put that on there, and that's mainly to protect it for when it's outside in the weather and the rain. So that little process yielded this nice color. So let's go ahead and get that going. We'll get the top stained, and then we'll burn some wood in this thing. Sounds good. Alright, there it is. All done. Top's all done and stained and sealed and all that. Looking at the two next to each other, actually I think I might want to do something with that barrel, so maybe I'll do that later. Other than that, we're pretty much all wrapped up, so let's go start a fire. well, there we have it. The fire table is complete. Fire's burning in there. No smoke more than a normal solo stove, so that means my holes are working in the bottom. That's awesome. Also, my wife saw it and she likes it, so there's another positive. And also, before you guys ask me a bunch of questions, no, this doesn't really get hot. It gets a little bit warm. The barrel also gets a little bit warm after it's been running for a while. I've had this fired up before, so I kind of tested it out. This does get warm, but it doesn't get so hot to where you can't touch it. So that's another positive. So I don't think we have to worry about this combusting or catching on fire or anything like that. So that's good. You saw I put in the 2-inch spacer underneath my solo stove. That comes with an extra kit, I think. And then the solo stove is 14 inches and the spacer's 2 inches. So the barrel is 16 inches, so it fits in there almost perfectly flush with the top here. So that's another positive thing. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's a little windy out here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. I will list all the materials I used to build this in the description below. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Alright, see you next time.